A very good morning to you all. It's India's 77th Independence Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 10th consecutive speech will begin shortly from the ramparts of the Red Fort. This will be his, as I said, 10th consecutive Independence Day address. With India taking the G20 presidency, the Red Fort has been decorated, where the G20 logo is a prominent feature this year for the floral decorations. We'll bring you those images shortly. We will bring you the Prime Minister's speech too, and all the hoopla at the Red Fort live. But till then, I'm happy to welcome our guests this morning. We have with us Group Captain Dr. R.K. Narang. He's Director Strategic Initiatives in Drone Federation of India, and also a Senior Fellow at the Center for Air Power Studies. Welcome to the show, sir. Joining us also is Rashid Kidwai, Senior Journalist, Author, and Visiting Fellow at the ORF. Noted psephologist Yashwant Deshmukh is, of course, also supposed to be with us. He's going to join us shortly. And political commentator and business leader Sandeep Ghosh is joining us too. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's a very bright and great morning. It's the 77th Independence Day today, and I want to start off with talking about the fact that it's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 10th consecutive speech at the Red Fort from the Red Fort, his last ahead of general elections next year. What are your expectations, Sandeep? If you can uh, fire the opening salvo.
See, yesterday somebody I read had commented that a mauka hai unka, but I don't think it's a mauka. He has earned it. He earned it, every bit of it, and to be delivering this 10th address. I don't know whether Rashid would say if there is anybody else who has done 10 consecutive addresses. I don't know, going back on history. So it's a moment well deserved and moment therefore for him to recount not only the contributions of his government, the changes which have happened during this period. Because a lot of these things, if you look at these speeches in continuum for the last 10 years, there has been, these have not been once off commitments. They have been, whether it's called the Swachh Bharat, it has taken across this entire spread of the period. And there is definitely a report card to be presented. And I think, but knowing Modi is always, he likes to pitch for the future rather than just simply dwell on the past. I would expect to hear some more, path-breaking announcements coming from him. And he, always, what I admire about him in a way, he acts with the supreme confidence that he's going to be there. He doesn't kind of act in the thing, okay, this is my last thing, which nobody can profess, but he will talk as if he is going to be there and the future, is for everyone. And so the schemes, etc., which he'll talk, I believe there's something I heard about Mary Desh, Mary Marty, or some new schemes will be. These are all going to be, I think, very, very forward looking.
Forward looking indeed, because if you just turn back the pages and look at his speeches from the last 9 years, consecutive speeches, every year, barring one or two, he's made like big ticket announcements. And I want to dwell on the fact that it's the last speech ahead of the general elections next year. And I just compare it to 2018. In 2018, he launched Ayushman Bharat, the world's largest healthcare program, so to speak. And this time, again, it's an election year next year, his last before that, and he is going to use this opportunity, is what we believe and what we hear. And you say well deserved. Let me come to you, Rashid Kidwai. Do you think it is an opportunity for him to make the most of it before the general elections?
Thank you, Aditi. Yeah, I think it's a great occasion. He's the third prime minister to be doing so in in doing the 10th year of address to the nation from the Red Fort. Jawaharlal Nehru did it, Indira Gandhi did it, and Dr. Manmohan Singh also did it for 10 long years. So in that sense, he is in that league of his own. So Mr. Modi has a lot of expectations. I mean, the country has a lot of expectations from Mr. Modi to be doing and saying things that would energize the youth and every citizen of the country. This is not, Aditi, to my mind, this is not a day to score political points and to run down the opposition. He is going to obviously showcase, and he's very good at it in showcasing his government's achievements, 10 years of achievements, and bringing a roadmap ahead. He's talking about India at 2047, and he's going to talk a lot about things that I feel would fill a lot of hopes and expectations. If you look at his track record, it's been very good, but as he himself had said once, it's a case of glass being half full or half empty. There is Manipur that continues to bother us. A lot of areas are there, but a lot of good work has been done. But people are expecting some big announcement. Mr. Modi does everything, whether it was Swachh Bharat or Ayushman Bharat or something like that. He's going to give some big announcement that will become a major talking point and perhaps help him in the elections. Remember, getting a third term for any political party or any prime minister is a bit difficult, and it's a very big thing to do. So if he does that, he will be sort of say first among equals. He will become much more than Indira Gandhi or Nehru or, I mean, for the matter, Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Yes, he will go down in the annals of history, literally, if he manages to do that. And I wish Yashwant had already joined us, but he's going to be joining us from the US. So I'm giving him that leeway because he runs these, his organization, Sea Water, runs these weekly surveys to gauge the mood of the nation. And we could have learned something from him about whether that third term is indeed coming or not. But let me just also talk about the fact that this is not just, I mean, this is not just any Independence Day, and you're right, it's not just political, because this Independence Day also culminates the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations that Modi had kickstarted in 2021. Uh, and this is like the beginning of the last leg, or the last 25 years leading up to the India's independence centenary. What are you expecting? Are you expecting any big? Because knowing Modi, he's going to go all out and urge the nation. His oratory is what he's legendary for, to urge the nation to come together and do something big, and achieve the promised dream of India, a developed nation by 2047. That's what he had said. Sandeep?
Yeah, I personally think that, I agree with Rashid. He is not going to make any overt political statement, but Modi again is very subtle. Sometimes when he wants to be, he will score some subtle points about where it is. And I think what he will essentially do is to exude tremendous confidence. And this is really, whether we like it or not, this is the second opportunity he's having within a week to rally the nation, rally his
Yeah,
supporters. And so he is going to do that. There is something else in the pipeline. You have the G20. Before that, you've got something else which I'd be a little shy of talking about it just now, for purely for superstitious reasons. But so he is going to have a series of such occasions in the next 1 month or so before he totally launches himself on the election mode to 2024. But leaving that aside, personally, I feel there is lot he can be proud of. You can always prick holes in Swachh Bharat or Ayushman Bharat and all these things to say that so many cards were appears to be fake because single number, and there are counter arguments to it, and the percentage being very small. Or Swachh Bharat, what it has achieved, not achieved. Mr. Modi cited some statistics in Parliament that how much it has brought down India's healthcare cost, or how WHO viewed it in the rest of the country. Digital India, I think, is a phenomenal success, which all these things are there. So there's a lot for him to be proud of, and on the basis of that confidence, really take that leap forward to tell India that, okay, we have come thus far, and now these are the big ticket things we need to do. And that would be indirectly also a political message for him to, you see, ultimately, Mr. Modi has always won on aspirations, on hope. And he's very
Hmm.
good at arousing that with people. And his main challenge will be in this situation how to reignite or rekindle that sense of optimism and hope in people, even if they are under pressure somewhere, whether due to inflation or whether due to employment issues or anything else. So that is what he would like to do, and launch, as you say, the Amrit Kaal moment over there as a next surge for him and for India.
Right, and if the parliamentary address, his reply to the motion of no confidence was any indication, then he is going to recount and put forth his government's achievements over the last 9 years, definitely, and in a very compelling manner. But you're right, you talked about the Ayushman Bharat scheme, and you talked about you know, and that's what's happening. The opposition today is coming forward and attacking that same Ayushman Bharat scheme because on the back of that recent CAG report, which was submitted in the same monsoon session, highlighting a lot of irregularities, supposedly.
I don't think it is all a lot of irregularities. I think that's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the
I
government.
know. I mean, compared to the crores that are benefiting
Yeah,
some
so
7.5 odd lakh people,
that
apparently
is
using
not
the
even a
same number.
percentage. You see, it's a
Yes,
percentages in any such data collection or data, processing, these sort of things. This is, I think people should actually, in any international standards, take it as a very good record with if that. And the questions about that 9999 thing, I'm not defending him. This is again normal. When people don't have a phone number, you put a dummy phone number. So overall,
hmm.
statistically speaking, this is not a bad thing, but it'll obviously opposition will try to play it up.
Yeah, yeah, the
Everybody,
opposition is, yeah.
yeah. But there
Coming
is no
close to the
denying both.
Manipur,
Both of these
but
things are big achievements. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
But coming close on the heels of Manipur, Rashid, the opposition has sort of banded together. We don't know what shape and form that opposition is going to take in the months and days and months to come ahead of the elections, because there is seat sharing issues. There are who's going to be the face of that opposition India alliance, and all of those issues. But for now, in this monsoon session, we saw them all really coming
issues which some people few years thought they are not worth continuing with, but now they have emerged and revived themselves, and they are coming up well. Recently, Argentina defense minister and had a full delegation visiting our DPSUs and the private sector. Uh, and in fact, they signed a letter of intent with the HAL for production cooperation and acquisition of light and medium utility helicopters for the armed forces. Now, this is a stark reality and a major shift where we used to take pride in the Western weapons or the Western systems. Some of the Indian technologies have evolved over a period of time where foreign countries are looking at Indian products. And I would
right.
also like to highlight that Prime Minister in 2019 or 2021 took a major step when he allowed drone manufacturing. In fact, in April 2021, there was a stringent policy release. He stepped in and changed the policy within 4 months. By August, we had a new, very pragmatic policy which allowed Indian drone industry to grow. Today, Indian drone manufacturers from the private sector have been able to supply some of those to Indian defense forces by competing with the global players. Now, just few months ago, just about 2 months ago, Indian government also, Director General of Foreign Trade released a policy for export of drones for civilian use. Now these are
Hmm.
all becoming new normals, where we are trying to look at things where Indian products and technology products are being considered for export. And some of our Indian startups were present in the US drone events. Now US, UK, UAE. Now this is new for India,
Now,
and
and
this,
US selling us, US agreeing to sort of give us drones this time during the Prime Minister's visit to the US. The Biden administration agreeing to give us drones, which are something that they've never done before, and because these are the very high technology drones, and so there's some level of technology transfer also that is going to happen on that front. Is there?
yeah, so there are four major aspects of India-US defense cooperation. The one is MQ-9B, which is the Sky Guardian and the Sea Guardian drones.
Yes, the
These
one they
are,
agreed to now.
yeah. So
you know, people across, we are a huge country by ourselves. So that it's if you see even China and other countries, they first thrived in the domestic market. So vocal for local, I think so far it's working. States like UP are doing great with their one district, one product kind of schemes. And we are seeing today there is a lot of mainstreaming happening even from places like Northeast, where thanks to e-commerce and everything, that goods are reaching. There are e-commerce portals are coming up, which people are marketing those goods. So that is, I think, taking off. Do we see that happening overseas? I think that's a matter of time. But as far as Make in India is concerned, I think we have a long way to go, but the beginnings have been made. Because first of all, there is a demand across the world. People are looking for alternative supply sources outside of China, especially. And in that, they feel that India has arrived. India has the wherewithal to do it, but I don't think we are all there. When I traveled recently to the United States, speaking to some people on the business side, they said we'd love to import these things from India, but India has to get its act together. When there are a lot of Indian origin products which China is importing, packaging, repackaging, and re-exporting from there, but they do it in such a professional manner. Say even an item like jute is what I'm referring to. Less people say what Indian product.
Or 84, Rajiv Gandhi had said that by 2001, India will become a superpower. In Abdul Kalam's book, he'd written by 2020, India will be a superpower. Now there's a 2024, 2047. Do you see that happening? That's the promise of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and that's what a lot of reports are also saying this time around. Do you see that?
Yes, Aditi.
Uh,
Yes, Aditi, indeed, the Indian story is great in every sphere, whether it's economic growth or our foreign trade or the value of Indian passport abroad. Indians are very highly respected, and our skills are there for the world to see. So, in that sense, we have arrived and we are there at the table. But as my friend author had said that whatever you say about India, the opposite is also equally true. We are also struggling on many fronts in the sense of employment, job opportunities. As Mr. Ghosh had written an article yesterday, and I was reading, and we were discussing about technology digitalization, integrating it with job opportunities. The artificial intelligence is posing a lot of problems and leading to some job cuts, and there are a lot of fears and apprehension. So all these things need to be handled, and not only at the government level, corporate, everyone else has to be part of it. Women are there everywhere. At the same time, we have some very disturbing things about the sexual violence, the kind of thing that happened, and that our wrestlers had to struggle, and the kind of public spectacle that we got to see. It was highly disappointing, humiliating, and
Yes.
in some ways I would say avoidable. And the same thing, that sexual violence that we saw in Manipur. So these are also things that disturb us. But overall, of course, we are making a great progress as a nation, as a civilization, etc. But as they say in Hindi, thoda hai, thode ki zarurat hai. So a lot needs to be done also.
A lot more needs to be done as well, because as you're right, it's not just the economy which has to be stable. It's also the politics and the social indicators that have to be stable to be able to invite the foreign investment into the country and institutional investment into the country, which really is the need of the hour for us to go towards that 2047 developed country tag. But I also want to talk about, I would, Dr. Narang, I want to come to you, Group Captain, to talk about, we talked about Make in India, about Make in India and defense, how that is coming up in a big way. Do you see similar challenges in that area?
Yeah, see, Make in India, when you look at it in the last
Hurdles in that path?
I agree with you, Aditya, that we are still long distance to go uh, because we were not making much in our own country. And from there, we have become a sort of a weapon exporting country. Some 14,000 crores, if I got the figure right. And we were at a very small, small sort of numbers earlier. We have a long way to go. There are two, three big hurdles which I will just point out for the sake of time. Number one is that we do not have the jet engine technology, which is very badly required for the aircraft industry to make our own aircraft. We made Tejas. It flies well. I can tell you, I'm also a pilot, and I have been associated with the Tejas program. It's a lovely aircraft, but it doesn't have an Indian engine because we don't make one, and that is one area.
What's your sense of, you know, many a times it's been touted India will become a superpower by 2001. Somebody said, and that was Rajiv Gandhi. Then Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in his book wrote 2020, and now we have 2047. What are the things that need to be done, and where are we on those parameters as far as becoming a developed nation is concerned by 2047?
Aditi, I think most of the framework has already been laid. If you look at things like, the UPI, it's a success story which other countries want to replicate. They want our
Right.
technology. They want to, emulate India in that sense. Uh, we have a demographic dividend, as per the IMF, we have about 900 million people in the working population. We we can do a lot of labor intensive, we can work in a lot of labor intensive sectors, and which makes us a very, puts us in a unique position where other countries can come and use this labor workforce that we have. So, in that sense, economy is growing at a good rate. We are already using technology. All the framework has already been laid. Now the emphasis, as Prime Minister Modi said, is to make lakpati women, 20 crore lakpati women. So gender is also being included. I think the problem and the challenge is the demographic dividend. We have
Right.
a huge working population, and we need to ensure that we give
about today, but thinking about tomorrow, to
Right.
not just to the parents, but you remember we discussed this in 2014 when he was having a discussion with his school children on the Teachers' Day, and we were kind of intrigued. Why kids? And then we realized in 2019 that those were the same people, set of the people that he talked to 5 years back, which formed
Yeah.
almost like 8% of the electorate in 2019. So yes, I mean, there is a new India, not just in terms of how they think and believe, but also we must realize that 10 years into the this game, and we are also thinking about new India, which has actually seen
in a literal memory of Modi regime, if we may say so. So he starts with a dream and says that okay, this is what we have achieved, and he gives them a dream for the next 25 years. I mean, of course, he is not going to be the prime minister. Of course, that 25 years. Forget about him, Aditi. Even people who are younger than him, me and you, we cannot say we would be around 2047. But yes, when he
Mm.
says 2047 with a conviction, as a father, probably I don't find that uh, unrealistic anymore. I find that okay, there would be millions of families, millions of parents out there who would be thinking about 2047 as the year their kids would be kind of living in, and their kids would be working and thinking of their families.
That's
If that is the thing which we think of a dream to of India to be in, it's not unrealistic. Of all the things, I was just listening on the background with the uh, other expert panels, and I can't help but think about one thing, which if you ask me, that as an Indian, as a not as a psychologist, not as a political analyst, as an Indian, what I feel the last 9 years probably would be a contribution. I think as a first generation entrepreneur, the biggest thing that Mr. Modi's governance or his party or his 9 years in power, if he can eventually logically take it to the logical end, would be the change of the mindset that people should look out for job rather than becoming a job provider. My generation as a first generation entrepreneur, I think Aditi was a graveyard for entrepreneurs in India.
right. Absolutely.
And but the way he has been pushing to change that mindset, that don't seek for job but become an entrepreneur, and that too, I think, with a very very active agenda to convert the females into entrepreneurs, to make the females of India believe that okay, this is your century, this is your thing, and here is the mudra loan, here are the other things, but why don't you become an entrepreneur? Why don't you
That
become a job creator? I think that's
right.
a huge thing to believe in for big number of masses in our country.
That's a very interesting analysis, Yashwant. Also goes to speak to the fact that he was referring to everyone as his parivarjan, family members.
Exactly.
And normally he speaks and he says bhai or behno, or
Yeah, it
he
started
doesn't.
with
And this is the
Mitro.
first time that
You
I
remember, it started with Mitro, then became Bhaiyo Behno, and then became
right,
Mere Deshwasiyon, and then this time it is Mere Parivarjano. I think it's a
correct. And
change,
that was again,
amazing.
yes, you're right.
So it's a
The,
change from what I feel in the 10 years journey, where from being seen as a politician, then to elevate himself to a statesman, and probably now in the fact end of his political life, probably he wants to take it to more of a mentorship role, or in a role where he, as an elder of the family, he wants to talk probably to the masses. That's what the change
you
in
are
that.
saying fag end of his political life, but he seems to be just getting started. He said, "I'm going to be here at the ramparts of the Red Fort next year too." I know what you mean. I'm just making a statement. What do you think, Amitabh Tiwari?
Essentially, I mean, the confidence which he is oozing is also the confidence which the arm janata or the common man is oozing today. Correct. And I think one of the most important elements is that apart from uniting the country, I mean, he's also inculcated a sense of sacrifice in the people. So today, if you are discussing with the poor about the challenges, about poverty, about inflation, what you get back from them is that desh aage बढ़ रहा है. So a sense of sacrifice has also been creeped into the minds. And what is a very interesting statement which he made is that today we are the largest democracy and also have the highest population.
Yeah,
And that brings with its demographic advantage and the challenges, as Sanjeev ji mentioned, because this demographic advantage then needs to be converted into a real advantage by providing jobs, and probably agriculture is not in a position to do that, and we have to move into manufacturing. See, becoming the third largest economy is fine, but since we have a higher base of population, our per capita income is still lower. It is around $2,500, which is less than 2 lakh rupees per se. Correct.
Hmm.
So unless but India is different from China in the sense that we are a domestic dependent economy and not an export dependent economy. So as this per capita income improves, it brings and a cycle in the economy, the multiplier effect in the economy, which can actually help us realize this goal of 2047 becoming a developed economy, because we are not dependent upon the outside. So, shown us dreams, he has also helped us realize that we are on path to achieve those dreams, some of those dreams, and now we are in a position to aim for bigger goals or bigger dreams as a country as a whole.
Interesting. Gautam Mukherjee, I hope your audio is fine now. You are, an economist also. What is your take on 2047 ambition? Yashwant says that very believable. Um, it's what every Indian is thinking. He's talking to the future. He's talking to parents who are thinking about their children and who believe that their children can have this developed future. Your assessment of whether 2047 developed nation.
Well, can you hear me properly now?
You're still
Can you?
low, but you can answer. You can answer. You can answer. We'll strain our ears and listen to you.
Okay. Now, based on what you got by way of growth year on year, 7% odd, you're going to reach the third spot in any.
Okay, audio is now gone. Now it's gone. It was low and now it's gone. Let me come to you. Let me come to you, Professor Sanjeev Singh, with the same question.
An exponential thing. It could be 10,
Uh,
it could be 15, it could
okay.
be 25 by the time you get to 2047 and beyond. So you are really going from a developed country into, a developing country into a developed country, and reaching to the third spot is inevitable as long as stability is maintained, and hopefully this government comes back to power for the next 5 years. Then, onwards towards 2047 is, a lot of things, because the geopolitical forces. This is not pure economics, but will China is a goner, I
Okay,
feel,
sorry. I
within this
hear
decade.
your voice is
But
coming
will
and going.
Pakistan
I
last in one? China last in one piece?
I think
Because
Gautam,
in
you're
the
not able
event
to
it
hear me.
doesn't, we're going to
Can
be
we
bumped
please
up
mute?
even
Can you
further.
please mute Gautam because we can't hear him? I can't hear you. Can you hear me, Gautam? Okay. So Yashwant, I let me just come to you from what I hear. So this is the stuff for your surveys now. You if you were to go out today and do a survey of, uh, I don't know whether you're already doing one. Can India become a developed country by 2047? Are you doing something? You can actually go ahead and do something if you haven't. Yashwant, you're mute.
Sorry, Aditi. Yeah, something certainly the editorial team will prop up few questions on today's speech for sure. But yeah, one question that probably we drafted together, if you remember, was about the country's relative progressive path with my personal path. That the question goes like, I think the country is moving forward, but my life is not in good shape. I think my life and country both are moving forward. I think my life and country both are in poor shape, and like that. And that we have been doing for more. There is a hope in the same question. in our tracker, which says country is moving forward. So there is a collective, I believe, that belief that we are going in the right direction and we will be there. I think that's a big emotion, big sentiment which keeps us going as a country, as an ecosystem. As a country which is very different from China in economy, that okay, ours is not an export only, but internal consumption or a collective dream where we can reach. That dream is important, Aditi, and that confidence which we dream, that is even more important, to understand that okay, this is achievable, maybe not in our lifetime, maybe in our children's lifetime, but we need to work on hard on that, and we need to be there. I think that's a very, very tangible sentiment. That's a very, very well achievable emotion to get into it, that okay, I might be personally facing problem today due to inflation, due to maybe even lack of job, or due to not having enough economic uh, spectrum on my end of the table. But what I feel, that with all that thing, the country is still going in the right direction. And if not for me in person, that certainly 25 years down the lane, this would be a very good place to be for my children. I think that dream is important, and not just the dream, but the confidence that which we look at that dream, that it is an achievable dream, that is very critical and very important.
But one thing that stood out, and you're right, Yashwant, this the speech was all about oratory and making people believe, and recounting the government's achievements over the last 9 years. And fairly enough, it's an election year next year. But what about? I mean, one would have thought that there would be one big announcement. Unless I missed it, and unless you got it, any big announcements?
No, there is
I
no
mean,
big.
like in 2018, there was he in 2018 ahead of 2019, there was the Ayushman Bharat scheme that was
I
launched.
think
You know, the
I think
world's
he
biggest.
has probably, Aditi, probably he has reached a stage where he is like telling the people of India, you know me. I'm not here
Oh,
to make some big announcement because you are expecting me to make a big announcement. You know me. Here has been in the last 10 years, you have heard about my composite dream. I am working hard on that side, and you need to work equally hard on that side along with me. I think that confidence of being trustworthy is also there, not to announce some poll worthy promise in that way. It's, I
okay,
think he knows that he has that connect, and he is going ahead with that confidence.
Sanjeev, you wanted to add something, Professor Sanjeev Singh?
Yeah, Aditi, I think I would echo what Yashwantji is saying, that I think the Prime Minister's got very comfortable and he's very confident of the fact that he does not need to give any, major poll promises to tell the people or to convince them that, whatever he is doing is for the betterment of the country. And, there was a stage, and we are in a situation today where what he's trying to convey to the public is that I know that there are some problems. I know we have issues around inflation. I know we have issues around rising prices. But if we persist, all the hard work is done. All we need to do now is to just maintain that GDP growth of 6 to 8%, and we will be there by 2047. So I think this is more like, you already know what I have done. You know my credentials. All I am saying is just believe in me and have faith in me, and all the other indices are there to see. We've done all the hard work. All we have to do is just canter at this pace. We don't need to gallop. We just need to move at the same pace, and we will be where we have to. So that's the pitch for 2047. That don't look at the immediate picture of the next 1 or 2 years. Look at the larger picture. And I think that's
And
what
that
Yashwanji said, is
I
that,
and my government is setting the pace for it. That's the underlying message.
yeah, I think it's about, look at the larger picture. We're there. We're going to be amongst the top three in the world. So have faith in me, and we'll reach there.
Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, your any last thoughts on this Independence Day address by Prime Minister Modi? Because I'm going to wind up this show now.
Yeah, Aditiji, plenty. Number one, I have also joined you from the US, so that's to give
Oh,
company
okay.
to
So
Yashwantji.
I think Yashwant gave away when he said that he was watching it at another show. He
Yeah.
gave away the fact that he'd given me time and gone to some other show. So
Okay. The second thing is,
I'm going to catch him later on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So second point that I want to make is before I come to really summing up, before you sum up, my own sense is uh, that he has realized over a period of time that every year he promised something and he said that, we have shown you that we have achieved it. And now I'm asking three things from you. He said, there are three things that I want from you. One is hard work, one is transparency, and one is non partiality. And he said that our character has to improve. And that is actually key to our becoming an advanced country by 2047 by economic indicators. Yes. But, my sense is that why is he saying, mere parivar walo, hamara parivar?
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
it is, to my mind, whatever little I have heard of him before and whatever interactions we have had, he is now realized that having this much of money and economy may not be good enough till the human development index of India actually comes up into two-digit figures. Right now we are in three digits, and it must come
Hmm.
to two-digit figure, and therefore now the family involvement in the development process becomes important. And I think possibly one of the reasons that why he's saying this is that he's also talked about quality production and quality in your charitra. आपके चरित्र में क्वालिटी होनी चाहिए, and this is one big thing
बिल्कुल.
which all of us probably will agree that there is a lot of room for improvement, and for that the family, the parivar has to get involved. So I think broadly
Hmm.
I will say that why he's not promising all that, because he's requesting us that come on, give me three things. I have given you all that I have promised. These three things: hard work, transparency, and non-partial, not being partial, non-partiality. So I think there is a lot
Yep.
of lesson in it, and I have a feeling that there will be a lot of discussion will happen, and probably we'll meet again on some other forum. Thank you, Aditi.
Right, and this actually echoes with the entire Panch Pran thing. That was the last independence year. He asked people to take the 5 oaths, to make India a developed nation by 2025. So he's been it's and the assessment. I think Yashwant, you said that initially it was aspirational. Now it's like, okay, this is here. Now we need to take the next leap forward together. I've given this much, and now the next leap we will take together. But thank you so much for joining us for this broadcast, everyone. And sorry, Gotham, your audio was very, very bad. So we were unable to have a chat, but we will chat soon again. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this broadcast. Thank you, Professor Singh. Thank you, Sinasa. Thank you, Amitabh. Thank you, Yashwant. Bye bye.